prisoners who are currently on death row merely for being relatives of those who are living in Camp Ashraf, the 100, and those who have moved to liberty in Iraq. And one of the PMOI activists, Mr. Golem Reza Khashravi, who has been sentenced to death for what? Just for giving money to the satellite TV station of the PMOI. The regime has executed thousands of people only because they are simply in sympathy with the resistance, particularly the PMOI. We have seen a shocking, and I mean a shocking, rise in the number of executions that have been carried out by this regime in recent weeks. During the month of November alone, more than 100 people were executed in Iran. This is the third time that I've used the word executed. They haven't been executed, they have been murdered. This is more than in any other period in recent years, which underlines the fact that things are actually getting worse. And I think that this message that the regime feels, basically, this message it conveys when they have actually intensified things, conveys that the regime is getting more desperate. They are feeling the heat more. And the rise in these brutal killings is a way, they think, of delaying the downfall. We see a degrading situation for the Iranian refugees in Iraq, who are the members of the PMOI. Last year, for example, some of us, after receiving the full assurances that Martin Kobler's name has come up time and time again, the United Nations envoy for Iraq, and that the conditions would be perfect. They are abysmal. As has been said, it is a prison camp, and that is what it is. It is a concentration camp. And not alone did he give oral and verbal assurances to us, he also gave us written assurances in terms of the property that has been referred to, over $500 million between movable and immovable properties. 10 months later, almost all of the residents we complied with, and in good faith we took his views and his encouragement and his assurance on board. And we encouraged the PMOI to encourage their people to leave, because we thought that we had the bona fides and the assurances of Mr. Kobler and the United Nations. And at the end of the day, what has happened is that they have been brought literally into an abysmal situation. Not even the basics are there. I think it is an absolute disgrace that Mr. Kobler's only concern seems to be to get the last remaining residents of Camp Ashraf out. It is quite obvious that from the point of view of Mr. Kobler and his performance, he has more interest in appeasing the Iraqi regime than in discharging his duties as a member of the United Nations and on humanitarian grounds. And I agree with Aleko and I agree with Strung that this man is a disgrace. He should be, and he has to be removed. And we have to have him replaced by somebody who has a genuine interest in human rights and the welfare of those residents. He is an absolute disgrace. And I have to say,
so there is some progress, and this progress has only happened because there has been pressure and a lot of colleagues and a lot of work done. And therefore we have to say that the only way to get further progress, and of course the progress we need has been outlined today, recognition as Camp Liberty as a refugees camp, that the EU countries should accept people from there to their home countries, and the stolen property or the property of the belongings of the people of the Camp Ashraf should be able to sell it and have the money for it.
And that's also the reason why we should stick firmly with the PMOI and with the National Council of Resistance of Iran. And I think that we should let international communities to know that and how to help our friends to get such international status they deserve. US administration delisting was the first step, but definitely it must not be the last step, and we should continue in our efforts also in 2013 and in upcoming years to achieve all our goals of the main, which is free Iran.
And the problem with people in Ashraf, now in Camp Liberty, this is a human asset we need to safeguard and to preserve. They deserve it, and I think they have been now over a year in new conditions, so it's our first task. And there still are people who have been wounded more than a year ago as a result of Iraqi security forces attack, and who have not been granted medical treatment they deserve. So several of them have died, and we bear responsibility for this.